إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Jazakallah khair for inviting me. I wanted to talk about a matter which, alhamdulillah, because we're approaching the middle 10 days of Ramadan. 6 days may have just flown by for some of us. It may have been a struggle for some of us, but in essence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's putting us through this journey so that we can come out of it at the other end attaining taqwa, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Oh, you believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed on those nations before you, so that you may attain taqwa. So taqwa by definition has been translated into many different ways, but if you were to give it like a real term scenario, taqwa is putting a barrier between yourself and anything. If you put a barrier between yourself and anything, this would be like a linguistic meaning of taqwa. So for example, there's some broken glass on the floor, and you happen to be needing to cross that area where the glass is broken. So you put a barrier between yourself and the broken glass. So that barrier that you put, so it might be some shoes or whatever, that becomes taqwa. So that becomes taqwa. That barrier that you put yourself between you and the broken glass, that becomes taqwa, linguistically. So the same concept is used when we think about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. He wants us to put a barrier between ourselves and His displeasure. So we have become more conscious of Him. So if we look at every single ibadah that we do, be it from salah, be it giving charity, good to our parents, good to our neighbors, all of these things is because we've built a level of consciousness and awareness of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So going through the motions of worship. So if you just pray salah because I have to pray, or I fast because I have to fast, and you're not really thinking about it, then there's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said that there's people who will go into Ramadan and all they'll attain from it is hunger and thirst. They won't get any benefit from it because they didn't go into it with a level of consciousness. They didn't go into it thinking about, okay, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants when He says that He wants so that we may attain taqwa, is so we may put a barrier and become more aware of what we're doing. So having said that, the ayat in relation to Ramadan, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I'll give the translation of the meaning, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that my slaves ask you concerning me. Indeed I am close. I answer the call of the caller whenever he calls. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. I answer the caller of the caller whenever he calls. So meaning that when we raise our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dua, especially in Ramadan, all of the signs of an accepted dua would be there. A fasting person, the time just before iftar. All of these things, there are times when dua is accepted. So if we were to take time out at that time just before Maghrib, so between Asr and Maghrib, like now, we're in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as Maghrib time approaches, we raise our hands in dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's more of a chance that it will be accepted, inshallah. But there is a problem with our dua. The problem is that we make dua as though we're just raising our hands and speaking. There's no feeling behind it. There's no desire. It's like, oh Allah, give me this, Allah, give me that, give me this. And if someone happens to be walking past you, you'll look around and so that you're not really in your dua, or we aren't really in our dua. Why? Because we some of the times we say dua which we don't understand the meaning of. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Okay, it sounds Arabic, so it must be good. Is the Arabic meaning to it? Is in Quran, it must be good. So when we say it, it's because it's from Quran, we'll get rewarded for it. But without any feeling and conviction behind it, it's just words. So this talk, inshallah, is going to be based around dua and how we can increase our dua, or make it a dua which is more how can you say, that we feel it more, that there's a sweetness behind it. Every time we raise our hands in dua and we put them down, we have a level of excitement that I've raised my hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I'm certain that He's going to give me something. Because this is what the Sahabas used to do. Umar radiallahu anhu, he's narrated to have said that he doesn't feel as though when he raises his hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dua, he doesn't feel as though bad about what he said, because he knows something is going to be in response. He's certain, guaranteed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to respond. And there's another hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He feels shy that when his slave raises his hands towards him in dua and he returns them empty-handed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes shy of this fact that we've raised our hands in dua, in need, in supplication, and then we lower them down, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't answered our dua. So there is a hadith narrated by Abdullah bin Masud radiallahu anhu, where he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he taught us a dua. He said that if any of you is going through any difficulties or a trial or a tribulation, and you say this dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove that distress from your life. And then the Sahabas said that, Ya Rasulullah, is it befitting that we should memorize this or we should learn this? And he said, yes, it's befitting that you learn this and you teach it to others. So inshallah, after this talk, if we make it a commitment to ourselves in Ramadan, that we take some time out and learn this dua, you can find it in Fortress of a Muslim. You can get it on your iPhone or even in the little booklet. It will come under the heading of du'as for worry and grief. Dua for worry and grief. There's 2 du'as mentioned there. It's the bit of the longer version. So this is an explanation, inshallah, of the longer version of the dua. So now, I'll give you the translation of the dua. It's, O Allah, I am your servant, son of your male servant, son of your female servant. In your hand is my forelock, meaning you have complete control over me. Your command over me is forever executed, and your decree upon me is just. I ask you by every name belonging to you, which you have named yourself with, or revealed in your book, or taught to any of your creation, or you have preserved in the knowledge with the unseen, that you make the Quran the life of my heart and the light of my chest and the departure of my sorrow and the release for my anxiety. Now that's a very traditional English wording, very old English. Like if we were to explain it in today's day and age, inshallah, it would make more sense. So I'll break it down into little portions. So the first thing we say, Allahumma inni abduka ibni abdika ibni amatika. Oh Allah, I am your slave, son of your male slave, son of your female slave. Now, this is what I'm talking about in consciousness of dua. We've raised our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we were to just say these words, "Oh Allah, I'm your son, I'm your slave, son of your male slave, son of your female slaves," it's got no meaning. But if we think about it, that as a slave, if you were to have someone who you control, that they are in your possession, that you command them to do something and they do, that person is completely dependent upon you, and they're going to come to you for everything of their need. For example, those brothers and sisters with children, your child is going to come to you, "Mom, Dad, I need this, I need that, I need that." They don't have money for themselves, so they'll come to you for a need. So they become dependent on you. That's why they are called dependents. So they become dependent on you. Now you are recognizing in this first statement that I can't depend on anyone except you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My mum is a slave of yours, and my father is a slave of yours, and I am a slave of yours. All of us, we are slaves to you. So we are 100% dependent on everything that we need from you. It comes directly from you. We can't do things from our own self. Now you've given, the ball is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's court. Then you continue on to say, اللهم إني عبدك ابن عبدك ابن عمتك الناصية بيدك ماض في حكمك عدل في قضاءك. That my forelock is in your hands. Forelock is a very old word. It literally means the front part of your head. If you control the head, anyone who does martial arts, when you control someone's head, you control their body. So whichever way the head goes, the body is going to go in that direction. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are saying that you have complete control over me. Whatever you decide to do to me or my family or anyone around me, I've got no control over that. If you choose for me to be sick, only you can heal me. If you choose for me to die, I can't stop that. If you choose for me to, whatever it is, you are just negating power from yourself, and you're giving control and power over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ناصر بيدك ماض في حكمك, that your judgment upon me is just. Whatever you've decreed upon me is just. I can't argue with that. And your decree, the qadr which you are going to bestow upon me, I'm happy with. Now this is an issue which a lot of us tend to have. When something befalls us, good or bad, if something good happens to us, we attribute it to ourselves. Oh, it's because of my knowledge or my abilities or whatever, I was able to do this. And if something bad happens to us, we take away responsibility from ourselves and we say, Ya Allah, what's going on? Why did you do this? But now, good and bad is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Good is from Allah, you praise Him and thank Him for the blessing that He's bestowed upon you. And bad is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And meaning, not bad in the sense that He harms you or He gives you this and that, but this trial or tribulation that you're going through is going to be past, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wa'dallahi haqq, that the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is true, that whatever He decrees for you is going to pass. If it's a hardship that you're going through, it will pass, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says فَإِنَّ مَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that for every hardship, every single hardship, there comes two eases with it. So the ease may not be clear for you to see, but when you reflect upon it after the difficulty has passed, you see the hikmah behind it and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you through that. So again, it goes back to this negation, this opening statement that we're saying, Oh Allah, I am your slave, son of your male slave, son of your female slave. Nasir biyadik, my forehead is in your hands. Adlun fi qadak, that your judgment upon me is correct and just. And your qadr upon me and your decree upon me, I'm going to be accepting of it. So now you've negated everything. When you've gone through this in your mind, again, like the hadith, it says that whoever goes through an issue, anyone who recites his dua, when you're going through a trial or tribulation, and you say it consciously, this is how it will come to pass, because you're conscious of it, that this is the qadr of Allah, this is the decree of Allah, I had no control over this. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has wanted upon me. So now you're becoming ease, you're accepting the fact that this is come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. عدل في قضاء أسألك بكل اسم هو لك. Now this is the middle portion. This middle part here, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 names, 100 minus 1. Whoever memorizes these names will enter Jannah. Not just memorizing them by reciting them like how we recite Quran, but again reflecting upon it, calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, using His names and attributes. When we say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful to the believers and to the disbelievers as well, but even more so to the believers in Al-Qiyamah. So when we are conscious of these names, when we say them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that He has names, call upon Him using these names. Al-Mujib, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Quddus, all of these names, we look at the meaning of them. But now this middle portion goes a bit deeper into that. Because the hadith, it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 names, 100 minus 1. Those are the names that we have been told about. An example I can give you is if you have some money in your pocket, however much money you have in your pocket at that given moment in time, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's all your wealth. It just happens to be that's how much money you have in your pocket at that time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has taught the Prophet ﷺ X amount of names. And in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he says on Yawm al-Qiyamah, when he's going to take people out of Jahannam, or he's going to be given the ability for intercession, before he is given that task of intercession, when he falls into sujood, he says in the hadith that I'm going to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using praises that I don't even know, that I haven't been taught yet. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give him the ability to praise Him in a manner which befits Him, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. So this middle portion here is that you are using every single name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without using them. Without going through the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are reciting even more than the 99 names. I ask you with the names that you've revealed to us, that you've revealed in your book, that you've taught to anyone, and that which you've kept with yourself, for 4 different types of categories that we've mentioned in this dua. Now you're becoming more and more aware of what you're saying, that now you've negated power from yourself and you've given power to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you're calling upon Him using names that even no one else has mentioned. You're not physically saying it, but you're saying it. You're calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name. Now your level of excitement should be increasing. That now this is guaranteed. I'm using Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names, which He says that call upon me using my names. And there is Asma al-Husn, or the greatest of the names, which the ulama have debated. What is the greatest name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Some say Al-Hayy, some say Al-Qayyum, some say Allah. So all of these debates and things you don't even go into, because now you're mentioning all of them. So this is now, you're setting it up for dua. You're planting seeds for what you want to ask. It's like a child, or when we were children, and if we wanted something from our parents, there'd be some groundwork. It wouldn't be just go in there and straight away ask. You might get a slap, or you might get told off, or how dare you ask me such a thing. So there's some groundwork that you've put in place. Oh Allah, all the power belongs to you, nothing is in my control. I'm calling upon you with using the greatest names that you've called yourself with. And now you're asking for what you want. أنت تجعل القرآن ربيع قلبي. Oh Allah, make the Quran the ربيع قلبي, the governor of my heart, قلبي, ونور صدري, and the light of my chest. So the Quran is what we want. This groundwork that we're building up to is so that we can take the fruits and the benefits of Quran. And seeing that this is the month of Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He praises the Quran. In these ayat before, which I mentioned in the beginning, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He talks about أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. The ayah before that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, شَهْرُ رَمَضَانِ أُنزِلَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ وَالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالْفُرْقَانِ. So there's praise given to the Quran, that this is the month, this is the greatest month in the year, which contains the greatest night, of the year, the greatest nights in the year, and from the greatest nights it contains a night which is better than 1,000 months in worship. And all of that is because of Quran. Quran was revealed in this year, in this month. So when we say that we're asking for the Quran, we want the fruits and the benefits of Quran, that it becomes the spring of our chest and the light of our heart. So when we read it, we're not just reading it, but we're reflecting upon it, because that's ultimately what Quran is about. Quran didn't come and change nations or change people's way of thinking because they just read it, but they read it and they reflected upon it, and then they implemented it. And that is what the crux of this whole dua is that if we want our anxieties and our worries and our hardships to pass, then that's going to pass once we make Quran the benefit of everything. Everything that we go to, it goes back to Quran. It goes back to Quran. We read the Quran, we understand it, we implement it. And this is how we're going to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And coming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something which is, one of the ulama, he mentioned that if you were to describe a sweet fruit to someone who's never tasted it, you could give it some description. Oh, it's so sweet. You could hype it up as much as you liked, but until this person has tasted the fruit themselves, they won't understand what you're talking about. Like a mango, you try and tell someone a mango who's never had a mango before, it tastes like this, tastes like that, tastes like this. They'll have a certain amount of appreciation for it, but they wouldn't know the real fruit of it. They wouldn't know the real taste of it until they have it themselves. So in this month of dua, of Quran, that we need to raise our stakes, we need to raise our level of engagement with the Quran. And going back to what we were initially talking about of dua, there's certain things that we can do in order for us to feel our dua as though we felt this just now. If we broke down the Arabic, have an understanding of it, and then we say it, that's going to give us more of fruit. Now the same thing if we were to make dua in our own language, because number one, we have to understand that dua is accepted in any language. It doesn't necessarily need to be in Arabic. If you don't know Arabic, you don't know Arabic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created languages, so therefore He understands all languages. There is a hadith Qudsi that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if the son of Adam, all of the insan, the jinn and the ins, from the time of Adam alayhi salam and beyond, all the way until the end, the last person on earth, the last creation on earth, was to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask and ask and ask until their hearts were content. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give each and every person exactly what they wanted, and it would not diminish his quality, his treasures as much as a drop decreases the ocean, in all of their different languages. So that's one thing that we need to understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts dua in any single language. Number two, when we make in dua, we need to think about our dua. When I say think about our dua, not necessarily dive in there, raise our hands and say, Allah, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that, give me that. But take a conscious time out before our dua time. So before Maghrib time, between now and Maghrib, for example, if you're going to be sitting in the masjid or you're going to your house and you're going to come back for Maghrib, take some time out to really think about what you want. If you had an opportunity to ask and be given anything, and money wasn't an object, and nothing was a problem, nothing was an issue, and you were given a blank any check, quote unquote, to ask anything that you wanted, what would you ask for? And you go through that. Okay, I would ask for this, that. Your wish list. Now this wish list that you're going to make is going to be designed in a way that you're going to be asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now don't think that, okay, because I've made this wish list, oh Allah, give me a Porsche, and it's going to come, someone's going to drive in and say, oh, I don't know, sorry I took this by accident, but it's actually yours. It doesn't work like that. Wish list is there, but now there needs to be some groundwork of activity and making this happen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, ask of me, and He may give you, but in a different means, meaning you work for it. If you look at the Prophet ﷺ's life, every time he made dua for a specific thing, there was always something related to the seerah where there was some action required. When he raised his hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just before the battle of Badr, and he said, Ya Allah, this is it, these are all your worshippers. If we are finished now, no one is going to be left on this earth to worship you. The dua was made, but the action was that he still had to go and participate in Badr. It wasn't that, okay, we're not going to do this. The help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came in the form of the angels, as the seerah goes. But there was an action element. There was a dua, there was an action, and there was a response. So this is how we need to think as well. It's not just a wish list of Santa Claus and it's going to come down through the chimney in a present form. It needs an action point. You need to do something with this. So now, this is how we're practically going to do this. We've got a wish list. This is what we want. Nothing. Money is an object. Nothing is an object. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give بِغَيْرِ hisab, without accountability. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're asking from Him. You've made your wish list. This is what I want. Now you have to word it in a way where you are going to feel excited by saying it. When we read this dua and we heard about it and we thought, okay, and we broke it down, okay, now I'm using all the greatest names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He says that He's going to respond to me. Now your level of excitement increases. The same way that you want your dua to be accepted like that, you have to make it exciting for yourself. So you don't get bored when you keep on saying it repetitively over time. You don't get bored when you're saying it and you start looking around to see if one of your mates is in the masjid or whatever. You are saying it consciously, fully focused in this dua, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is definitely going to respond to it. Then there's some other things that the dua should contain. It should contain something realistic. You shouldn't say, Ya Allah, I want to be the president of America, or the king of the world, but it's not in your capability of doing so. It should be something which is realistic to you. Ya Allah, I want to get promotion in my job, or I want to work in a better place, or whatever it is. You're asking for something which is relative and something that you can get. It's easy for you to get. It requires a bit of a struggle, but it's something in your capabilities. Nothing beyond that. Because if you ask for something which is beyond your capabilities and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't give it to you, then human reaction is that we become upset. Oh, I asked for this, I didn't get it, therefore I'm not going to ask again. So it's something in your capabilities and something that you're able to do. Then the dua should contain something of al-akhirah, something which is going to benefit you in the dunya and benefit you in the akhirah as well. It shouldn't be just something limited to dunya. Oh Allah, let me get a Porsche so I can drive people to the masjid. Okay, now you've made dunya and akhirah, combined it together. It's not just, oh Allah, let me drive around Graham Park Estate in a Porsche so people can see me. It's you're attributing something to the akhirah to it. Now your reward is going to be increased inshallah because of your intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Every action is according to its intention. So this is just some of the checklists that I wanted to go through with you in regards to dua. So in summary, when we making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it should be in a structured form, as we read in the dua, that we negate all power to ourselves and we give all power to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we call upon Him and we praise of Him as and we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He deserves to be praised. And then we send durood and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then we ask for our need, whatever it is, as we did the checklist. We make our wish list, that this is what I want. Then I make it so it becomes exciting to where every time I say it, you word it in a way that gives you butterflies in your stomach. If you were to think about excitement, what is excitement? It would be something that causes butterflies in your stomach. Like the first time you probably saw your wife, or your first time you saw your children. You've got a bit of excitement. So that same excitement should be in your dua. And we make it, we combine dunya and akhirah together. So we're not just thinking about dunya, but we're thinking about the long term of this. That how can this benefit me in the akhirah as well? So with these things that we mention in our dua, we will find that our dua becomes that much more sweeter. It becomes that much more exciting, that we start looking forward to making dua. It's not just a chore that, oh yeah, I might as well make dua, I've got 5 minutes to kill. I've got a couple of minutes to pass here, let me just make dua. But now you're taking time out. So okay, in my sujood, there's some of the ulama, they say that when you're in sujood, in our nawafil, in a voluntary prayer, that this obviously outside of voluntary prayer, this is time when dua is accepted. But in a voluntary prayer, you can make dua in your own language, or a language that you're comfortable with. So this is an opportunity when you're making nawafil. In a month, when nawafil has become easy to do. Taraweeh, we're here for Taraweeh. That's a nafil prayer, voluntary. When you're in sujood, this is your time to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of these things, bearing in mind that when we raise our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we look for opportunities, that this is the time when dua is accepted. The rain falls just before the adhan of Maghrib, in a fasting state. All of these times when dua is accepted, this is where we can use these duas. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the tawfiq to make full use of these last days of Ramadan, that we see them to the end, and that when we leave Ramadan, we leave it in a better state that we entered it in, that we become people of dua, because that's what Ramadan is about. That if we leave Ramadan with a level of consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we leave Ramadan asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything, then that's a successful Ramadan. If we come out of Ramadan looking forward to Eid Salah, say, this is the time where I can eat again, normality resumes, nothing changes, then we are the people who are going to be losers. So Jazakallah khair for your time and for the invite. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts all of our fasting, all of our ibadah, all of our du'as to Him, and that we go on from strength to strength. وآخر دعوة أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.